The Better on Draft podcast is recorded live in Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, pop that 40 and kick back with your hosts, Dan, Nick, Ken, Rob, Matt, and Angela.
And we are live, episode number 145 Better on Draft podcast. Thank you, Nick, for the smattering of applause. My name is Ken. We are in studio. All the hosts are here today. We do not have a guest, but we have a great one scheduled for next week. But until then, let's kind of go over and see what everyone's drinking, how everyone's doing, how everyone's week was. Rob.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm a little bit muted, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm on number 6.
Oh, there you go. I can hear you.
That's a bit better. I'm all right. I'm a little reflective this week as you could say one of the team of my original Sandlot, going back to my old childish days that lost one of my friends this week.
Yeah, Desmond?
Damone. And actually a couple of guys did get to meet him because there was that one time when I brought my buddy in here who wanted to learn how to do podcasting.
Yeah.
It was him. So he made it to 45. So you know that's it's still too young, but it's good. I think he had a pretty good life, and like Stu Scott said that you don't lose to cancer, but you just win at having life. Oh. And I think he had himself a pretty good life. So definitely a cheers to Damone, who is up there, hopefully playing the brand new Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that did come out today, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
And there was a huge PSN update, too.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got all of that.
Crap, I gotta go download it now.
All of that, yeah.
So is my Madden getting messed up then, too?
I think anyone who's on PlayStation had to do the update today.
Yeah. Guess we're gonna get tied up on that later on.
So as far as what I'm drinking right now, I just cracked open another Founder's Better Half because this stuff is amazing.
Oh man,
as strong as you. Yeah, exactly. Because I do have a better half. And I have a little bit of the Flying Buffalo from Griffin Claw. The Griffin Claw,
buddy.
Great Lakes Roasting Company Flying Buffalo.
What year is it?
I think this is most recent.
Yeah, that's 2017.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I bought some too, and I thought my wax was white, and this looks silver.
Why gotta be white?
Well, that's the thing, that they made so many different variants, and the different variants had different color wax on it.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I totally bought
the label is
one, not the.
Yeah.
I bought it at Great Lakes, but I bought the cinnamon.
The labels are almost pretty much the same. This one's got obviously the Great Lakes Coffee Roasting logo, like kind of transparent in the background.
Yeah, I think the one with the white wax was the cinnamon and vanilla.
Yeah.
There's still some of the 2017 still out there.
Yeah, I mean
they made a lot of it. And
they did, but I'm just surprised that
they made a lot last year. You should see that place next to Clubhouse. They're going to be making 5 times as much as they were.
Oh, guess I know what my
or are they just gonna make
haul's going to be.
What?
They could just be making variants at that point then.
I mean, they're going to be making something. That place is huge. I was just there yesterday.
How many variants did they do last year? Was it 6?
6 or 7.
That means they got, 67 variants left?
Can people start using Oreos? Why does nobody use Oreos? Besides Prairie, that we'll never get to try.
Prairie. What about Hydrox?
Well, why won't we get to try it?
I don't have that kind of money.
Damn, how much are we talking
Maybe
about
between
here?
the 5 of us, we could.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, should we pool for one 12-ounce bottle?
Yeah.
How much is a 12-ounce?
How much is a 12-ounce?
I don't know. I mean,
Is it not getting distroed?
it was a part of their exclusive member,
Oh,
their membership. So then the people that had them, maybe sold them for.
We'll get our hands on.
What's that black market
bills.
website for beer? What's that called?
Blackmarketbeer.com.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's beerblackbook.com.
Okay, yeah.
That.
Someone go there and look.
We'll try to look for it.
Okay.
Matt, what's going on?
Hey, Ken, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a whole 24 hours.
25, I think, on my count. You shaved your beard, huh?
I did.
Oh, you did.
I haven't seen your cheeks in ages.
Are you on mic 4?
No, I'm on mic 3. I'm still on mic 3.
There you are.
Hi.
What mic are you on, Nick?
He's on mic 2.
Mine's unlabeled.
Yeah, you're
probably
2. This is getting really weird.
You're still unwritten.
There we go. Hello. So, what are you drinking over there?
So the usual Diet Runners. I thought we were gonna have 2 French presses, so I bought a Milwaukee's Best Light to Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince.
What were you going to put in it, Doritos?
Yeah, probably something like that.
There we go. Yeah, there you go.
Just shove a couple in there right now and let them steep.
Oh, God.
And this is what I was talking about. With
There's some crumbs in there. I don't know if
the
really
whole idea about putting it up there
You're
to
disgusting.
like Instagram
What are we doing?
or to put it in Instagram or on the Facebook to basically have a picture of the French press and say, all right, guys, go.
Throw it in.
Give us a beer that we have easy access to.
Yes.
And something to French press it.
You're going to get some awful stuff like tacos.
We're gonna get like
mozzarella stuff.
you're gonna get like chocolate for Loco.
I know. No.
That sounds better than you putting Doritos in that Milwaukee's Best.
No, I get that we're
that
going
too.
to get some of the weird things and some of the nasty stuff, and obviously we don't have to do it. But if there's something out there that somebody
I think
posts
you
that actually
just
sounds
described us
interesting,
weird and nasty.
right? But I don't want anybody, like I told these guys yesterday, I was like, I don't want anybody to, think that I'm going to do Milwaukee's Best press with sardines. It's not going to happen.
I think we should if we do that.
I'll press it. You're drinking it. Next there will be doo-doo.
We should do a high end and a low end, like the worst and the best.
Gosh.
Oh.
Like we should vote, or we should like have a homework assignment where we all rate the thought of it, and then the highest aggregate and lowest aggregate.
I feel like there needs to be like a weekly punishment between the 4 of us since Ange isn't in our league, but the punishment for the lowest score has to do the worst of the French
I
press.
could do that.
I'll do it.
I do like that.
I had Calvin Ridley score a bunch of 0 points yesterday.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, he.
Well, no, he really. I mean, Matt Ryan played like complete ass last night.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Ryan played yesterday?
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
Yeah. Because he didn't do anything.
You know who else did? Well, no,
All right. If that basically being the stakes, then
Coco Sheeney's getting French press with something.
that makes fantasy football a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
So
It does.
all
Oh,
right.
how about this? What about
Wait,
this?
how am I not in the league?
We invited you, but you had another draft that day.
Oh, that was that draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person who has the highest score that week, French presses for the person who has the lowest score that week.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, we're getting into details. We could talk offline. So you got your Beast, you got your Diet Brenners, you got your
My French press
Doritos.
Doritos.
Your Doritos and did you actually put Doritos?
Oh, yeah, I
in there?
did.
You really get
He put like a couple like crumbs. There wasn't much, but he
Yeah, I
I
guess
was, I was busy sharing the show that we're live.
Bruce, brothers.
Nick, what's going on?
How's it going?
Wayne,
sir?
call the admins.
Call the admins. Leave him alone.
What are you drinking over there?
I got a little something from one of the project managers I work with from Kitty Vitty in Newfoundland, St. John's, Newfoundland. So yes, this is Canada.
It's a Canadian beer.
It's Canadian beer. They're premium lager.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Very premium.
Yeah, I know. Very crushable.
Very crushable.
Very,
What's the
very-
ABV on that?
I don't know. I gotta get back. 5%.
5%.
Yeah.
Is that a Canadian ABV or American ABV?
Does that match?
Yeah, no. Does it need to be converted?
Couldn't tell you.
This is like 3.6.
So I mean, was 341 milliliters.
The exchange rate on an ABV.
But no, this is he brought this in. He brought some of this, which is the first time I've had this, and he brought some of that one that they call iceberg in the tall blue clear bottles. That
as long as it ain't Ice House.
yeah, no, it ain't Ice House. Thank God, I learned my lesson with that one.
You're obviously
Yeah,
having a bad day.
I'm not doing that again.
Thanks, Daniel
But
Potter.
yeah, right. And then brought in the Great Lakes Flying Buffalo in for everybody from last year. Fantastic
Awesome.
stuff.
That's amazing.
Ange, what's going on?
What's going on?
How are you?
I'm good.
Wait a minute. She didn't say hey.
I messed it up.
Hey.
Hey.
You want to try that one again? Ange, what's going on?
Hey.
And how are you? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking my favorite IPA from Perrin. Well, my favorite IPA right now is the Caribbean Nights. Yeah. See, it's not.
It's a Rob pulls a can.
Why is nobody drinking this? Every time I go to Holiday,
You didn't bring me.
it's stacked.
Bravo.
I wish I could. I buy a 4-pack every time I work. It's more beer than I need. But it's really
People are
awesome.
taking Perrin for granted a little bit on that.
Says our milkshake IPA brings all the hops to the yard, and
And they're like, it's better than.
Thank you.
Damn
I
it.
didn't get the reference until you started singing.
I just
it.
wanted to sing it.
So shout out to Perrin. They have their 6-year anniversary this weekend, actually.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Goodness.
Are they doing anything big for their 6 year, or
They're having a party
they're having a party
at Perrin.
at Parent and Comstock?
Yep. So I have a mystery beer for you guys.
Yes, what
oh,
is
wait.
this?
Ken, do you want to tell us what you're drinking? Are you drinking my mystery beer?
I'm not drinking your mystery beer. I
Okay.
have got a.
Vodka
There's a
Creamery.
vodka from Texas that's out there. I'd have to figure it out with
Tito's?
some. It's not Tito's. With some sugar-free Red Bull.
Nice.
So I'd like to also say, I don't believe the guy who made Tito's, his last name is actually Beverage.
Unless he changed it.
He alleges his last name is Beverage.
I mean, he could have changed
And
it. Yeah.
do you have any like clues for the beer like I usually come up with?
No,
Okay, so
I'm
hold on. We
very
got a mystery
underprepared.
beer.
This is going to be incredibly disappointing
Double
in
IPA.
comparison to Matt's.
It's a double IPA.
No.
Oh,
No,
in
that's
comparison, meaning that it's
malty.
actually good?
So I guess we could still follow a 5-question format.
Well, how many questions are you going to give us?
I think she's gonna give us.
Oh, no, you can ask me 5 questions.
We can. Oh,
You have
Okay.
five, or no, you have
Oh.
5 guesses or 5 questions. I
Okay.
don't know. Let's just roll with it.
Well, hold on. First, automatically, is this a Michigan beer?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a Michigan beer.
I already know it was bought at Holiday Market.
Oh my God, that's bitter.
Does the style have
Whoa.
some form of IPA?
Yes.
I don't want to drink this
Very
again.
much so.
I know you
I
don't.
think it's a double.
I don't even.
This
wanna
tastes
touch
malty
it.
like a
gonna
Boss
take a
Tweed
sip.
or
You can
I
have the
mean-
rest of it. I can remember that taste.
That is.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's kind of warm. I bought it off the shelf.
All right, so they have a lot of it, obviously.
So it's an IPA.
Ashley, what kind of warm double IPAs do you have right now?
All right, so we got an IPA. It's a Michigan
It's
IPA.
Michigan IPA.
It's a hoppy IPA. I thought I got a little malt in there.
Yeah, I'm
there was
getting a lot of
definitely
malt.
some malt in
Yeah.
there, so it wasn't that.
I want to know if it's north or south of Lansing.
All right,
North.
it is north of Lansing.
See, there we go.
Wow, that's a lot of.
No, because
No, that's not a
Grand
lot of
Rapids
beers.
and
Yeah,
Kalamazoo are south of Lansing.
yeah,
Hey,
and
you're welcome.
Detroit, and oh
So
my
it's
God.
north of.
Lansing.
I'm thinking
So
it's
it's Traverse City, Right
Or-
Brain,
or
What
is it
Right Brain
Bel Air?
IPA?
Is it
Bel
from
Air
Bel Air?
Shorts.
She just looked at me when I said Bel Air.
Shorts. I don't know what Shorts IPAs there are. I don't.
She's got his bad
Ask
job.
me some more questions.
I think that's what we're. This is this. There's a process to this.
Okay.
There's,
I'm
this is-
listening. I'm not a patient person.
So here we go. Is this a Shorts beer?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, look at that. How easy. Come on. Can I just get the belt now, or do I have to wait?
So I mean, it
Well-
could be Freedom. It could be Hopstash.
That's not Freedom.
Definitely not. Freedom has that sweet guava.
Yeah, that I, for some reason, it comes out too dry to me. And I
You know,
don't
you're the
like
one asking questions
it.
and not supposed to be helping us out, right?
I'm a big fan of Freedom of 78.
I don't know. It's not controversial. I
It
know
is a
that.
collab with my favorite brewery in Chicago, Half Acre.
Half Acre.
Not
So
other
can you
half.
want to
Not
just
other
figure out
half
what their
Acre.
collabs with Half Acre are? You're really bad at this.
No, it's not that beer. Let's stay on track.
So it's a
So I'm-
Shorts
So
IPA.
you guys have. I'm gonna give you one more guess.
It's a Shorts double IPA. Whatever. Find the first on the list.
I don't think it's a double.
Yeah, I think you should take a big swig of it.
I wonder if
Then
it's.
trick. You know,
The-
of course, we'd have a
well,
good time.
What do you
Don't
guys?
threaten me with a good
What are you
time.
guys thinking? I'm gonna take
Whatever.
another
I
little.
get bitter and malt at the same time. I really think it's
But
a
it's
no.
not like complimentary. It's just like
No, it's-
bitter and malt.
It's like they're fighting. Like the front of my mouth and my uvula are fighting with one another.
Uvular.
Uvula.
Uvula?
I'm pretty much. I've got one guess. I'm just gonna kind of stick with it on mine because I'm gonna go with Sticky Icky Icky.
Is that
Ooh-wee.
everyone's final answer?
Hold on. No, we gotta get one more question in before we get.
Yeah, no, I know,
That's,
no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can have one more question.
No
obviously.
seeds.
that's
I mean,
no
you already
sticks.
guessed
No
the
stems?
brewery.
No
It's
stems.
not.
It's the stickiest of the icky.
Okay, is this a
Well,
double
party with your
IPA?
man Rick James.
Okay, so it's not a double. I think it's going to be in the Probably the high 40s to low 60s in IBUs.
Wow, so technical.
Yeah. Trying to measure it against other things I've drank.
I mean, if it's not a double, we should have asked if it's a single, because that would have been a...
Well, we know it's not a...
Well, it could be a triple. They got 2 different triples. But I don't think it's that bitter to be a triple.
No, it's a single.
I don't think so either.
She's a worse poker player than...
Honesty is my best and worst quality.
All right.
I can read you like a coloring book from over here.
Next time I'll bring sunglasses.
There you go.
Can call you Daniel Negreanu or something.
Yep.
You're the one with the computer.
Wait, so are you guys gonna? Just
I don't know. I only got
final guess?
Hopstash. That's the only one I know.
I think we're going to go with the sticky icky icky. We're going to put it up in the air.
Okay, if you guys lose, there's
no.
gonna be a punishment.
There's the,
Wait a second. We didn't talk about no punishments on this show.
Okay, I'm kidding.
and if you get it right, then you have to eat that whole bowl of food on air.
Okay, it's not sticky icky.
Is it Hopstash?
No.
What IPA
It's
is
Huma Loompa.
Is it regular Huma?
That's Huma Loompa? Wow.
And it is also made by my new employer.
No, wait a minute.
So,
Dropping the bomb on some people.
Wait. I mean, we haven't even got to the here is Robert with the news. I mean, you're just CNN breaking shit right now.
Do you have a
so I wish I should have had a drum roll.
Oh, there we go. Give him the drop.
So unfortunately, this is my last episode because I'm moving to Traverse City.
Damn.
Wow.
But I work for Shorts now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So what will you be doing for Shorts?
Social media coordinator.
Nice.
So a bunch of pictures
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Yep.
Are you taking your doggo with you?
I can't.
No doggo.
The Kit Kat comes with me.
I mean, that dog is media gold right
I
there.
know.
You need to-
I'm gonna have to steal him away once in a while,
gonna
especially come winter time. But I'll worry about that later.
You
But I'll
need
be
to-
back for Nick's wedding, and
Yeah.
love
Sweet.
this show, so I'll still talk about it.
So we have to redo our intro again?
Yeah, another $5 to take.
We have to edit her in and out, editing her out. Like,
No. Actually, we'll just do. We won't even actually do the $5. Just like
Just
it gets
cut
you
it
in,
short.
and at the end it's like, and Angela, psych, and then just go out.
or we just put like a record screech and screech.
That's when you just let Matt come in with something really ridiculous in the beginning now.
Matt never says anything ridiculous.
Hell, he was talking about my go-kart earlier. That's ridiculous.
I mean, there are a lot of people who ride go-karts. Like
Yeah, but he said that I drive one all the time.
Mario.
Short.
Princess Peach.
Toad.
All people that are short. Awesome.
Donkey Kong.
That's racist.
Would have been if he said Diddy Kong.
Oh, okay.
I accept the Donkey Kong.
So we are definitely going to miss you
Yes,
here at Better on Draft. We appreciate you coming in every week when you come in, giving us great takes in regards to how you feel in the beer world.
Should I replace myself with an IPA advocate?
No. Absolutely not. No. I think we are simply just going to run with the 4 of us, guys.
Just the 4 of us.
Oh, but you really do need a lady touch.
We do, and that's what Matt's for.
Wait, what's that all about now?
A lady's touch.
Oh, yeah. Clearly.
I mean, between the 4 of us.
The most proper lady over there drinking Milwaukee's Best with crushed up Doritos.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean-
So when's your...
Go ahead.
So when's your first day? Is it Monday?
It's the 24th.
The 24th?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you gotta pack up, and all the other roommates. Tough shit. You gotta get your own beer now.
Oh, Christ. I can't imagine moving 11 cases of beer again.
I'm going to need you to do me a favor, though, when you do come down. I'm going to need you to stop at Mackinac Brewing Company and get an order of those smoked chicken wings.
You want me to bring wings all the way
Yes,
to...
Hey, I've had friends bring me a pizza from South Dakota before. So
Are you serious?
Yes.
What
They
kind of
act-
pizza is worth it?
So there's a kind of a gas station
God,
restaurant that's
right
out there. I know, it's ridiculous. It really is, but it actually is really good. It's a place that's out there.
It's called Diarrhea. Diarrhea Pizzeria.
It's a place called Casey's. And they make this breakfast pizza that, when I went out there to visit my friend Clyde and Leslie when they were getting married, they had this breakfast pizza that was absolutely amazing. So one winter, they were coming home from visiting family to come over to my house for Christmas dinner. And they went to Casey's, bought the pizza, and then proceeded to drive the 17 and a half hours from there to come straight to my house.
So what's on a breakfast pizza? If you don't say, like, scrambled eggs and chorizo, get out of here.
It's scrambled eggs, sausage. They actually don't use chorizo, but now that kind of thinking about my own recipe, I'm almost thinking about actually trying to use chorizo the next time I make it.
Do you like breakfast sausage gravy kind of sausage?
There is the biscuit gravy, like the sausage gravy, is the base.
Okay. You know what you're describing right now? The 7-Eleven breakfast pizza.
Yeah.
There's a breakfast pizza at 7-Eleven.
Yes, and it involves the exact ingredients that Rob just said.
And it's nasty.
So,
well, actually, they make two.
While we're on topic.
The other one is nacho cheese for the base.
That's disgusting.
But it's really fun.
They keep it cold? Like, did you get, like, a really bad tummy ache?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Dude, I'm Iron Cast. I eat White Castle.
So I guess while we're on a food topic, I just had a really amazing brewery experience. So I just figured we should keep talking about brewery food. So where was I?
Brewery food.
Snowbelt in
Gaylord.
Gaylord had waffle tots. So tots, bacon, cheese, waffle form with sour cream on top. It was like hands
in a waffle iron or like
a waffle iron, like a full-on frisbee waffle. But one of the best things I've ever had at a brewery.
Wow, that is
waffle tots.
Like, why haven't we been doing this for years?
Waffle tots?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we've been doing this show for years, but
so you're talking basically like a waffle fry, but just enlarged.
Well, no,
it's like a tater tot.
The tater tots. They put a bunch of tater tots into a waffle iron.
With bacon and cheese.
I've seen that. I think the cheese would get sticky, wouldn't it?
No.
Like a stick.
Like a sticky icky?
Oh, wait.
I think I've seen those on those little 1 minute
like Food Network
Facebook
videos.
ads.
One of those tasty or
those videos that everyone shares that nobody actually cooks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of like Tipsy Bartender. Everyone shares, but nobody orders.
My mom did one of those recipes one time. It was like
one time.
Yeah, they were really freaking good. They're like these ginger type pork chops. They're so
Oh, it
good.
does sound good.
It sounds so good.
So that was my favorite brewery food. I mean, what else have you guys had? Not from a gas station, from a brewery.
From a brewery.
That's like the most notable meal that you've ever had.
Well, can it be a meal or like a
snack?
I'm gonna put a filter on this. No Supernatural.
Oh, that was good.
That was really good. And we didn't even go there. We all have to go there for more food.
I'm really high on the right brain.
Those waffle sandwiches?
No, the
You had waffles today, huh?
waffles, man. Shit.
First it was avocados. Now she's phased out.
Yeah.
It's the winter season. I can put on the fluff.
Sooner or later, she's gonna put the avocados in a waffle iron and make an avocado.
Toast avocado waffles.
Exactly.
But I say
Peter
my
John
fiance
waffles with
did
avocado.
banana pan waffles. Those didn't go very well. Anyway.
Okay, back to breweries.
But the hummus and pita chips over at Right Brain.
That's the most notable meal.
I tell you
I'm gonna
what,
have to
the
check it out for you when I'm
hummus
up
at
there.
Right
It's
Brain's really good.
Yeah, Right Brain does all their
Take your word
hummus in house. They do I think they do their own chips too.
No, they do
don't?
Traverse City.
Traverse City. Okay. Wow. Okay. They're in Traverse City. So.
They don't do it.
But the hummus right there in at site, really good. I think they have 4 different kinds.
I'm
too.
definitely a hummus snob. Like, I will tell you, if there's bad hummus, I
Well,
won't
yeah,
touch it.
I know why.
Well, your mother makes amazing hummus.
Yes, she does.
So I guess I'll check that out. Maybe it'll be one of my first stops.
For
when I
me,
get home.
both of them involve duck, but the duck confit biscuits and gravy at Axel was amazing, and then the duck poutine over at Lansing Brewing Co. was by far some of the
I've
best
heard
poutine
great
that
things
I've
about
ever
the
made.
duck nachos at Vivant too.
Duck nachos, ooh.
Yeah, the duck confit nachos.
Have you had them?
I have not, because the last time I was there, I kind of got a little bit of sticker shock looking at the price of those.
Oh, yeah. Weren't they like $20 or something for nachos?
I'm going to wait until I come out here next time, and that was kind of 3 times ago.
It's very rare.
I mean, to be fair, all their food was really good, though. I thought.
Yeah, no, their food is really good. It's just, I couldn't get over paying that much for something that was considered an appetizer.
It's very rare where I ever see a price for a food item that I'll buy and say this is worth it. Like I never buy anything that's too crazy expensive. Like I just can't see myself buying the really expensive Wagyu steaks or whatever the hell.
Wagyu.
Sure. Stinks. I've had them, and they're nothing really to write home about.
You
in my
haven't though,
opinion.
because Wagyu's only in Japan.
Oh.
It's like you've had champagne, but it's not really
Champagne.
It's labeled
Champagne.
champagne.
Fair. Very fair.
Any food for you guys that was notable?
I'm like, go ahead, Max. I'm actually just like completely drawing a blank right now.
So besides the
Motor
wings,
City pizzas.
Oh, those were really good.
so besides the wings that I just mentioned from Mackinac Brewing Company, the poutine at Brown Iron Brew House in Washington Township, Michigan,
With the tater tots.
just north of 26 Mile and Van Dyke.
I love poutine
The
tots.
Pitmaster poutine is super good. It needs an acid or something to cut through all the dense, heavy fat. So like
enough.
something spicy or something just acidic to like do it. But it is, when I'm in the area, I stop to have it and then I just shovel it in my face. And then whoever served it to me is like, wow, did you eat that or just unhinge your jaw and shovel it in?
It is a good portion of
And then
poutine, that's for
I
sure.
lobby them and say them they only gave me the child's portion. And then they point back to the empty giant vessel that they gave it to me in and say, no, you're just a fat glutton.
I think I love good food as much as I love beer. And so, I mean, if a place doesn't have food, I'm probably not going to visit.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Ken's little subliminal message there, because I do absolutely love the pizza at Motor City Brewing Works.
Yes.
And the barbecue chicken pizza that they have.
Oh man.
Or as my wife would pretty much call chicken and other shit on top of bread.
I still remember my first time.
Oh, that Italian? Is it the Italian that comes out? Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! If it doesn't have cheese and pepperoni and maybe Italian sausage, that shit ain't pizza. It's just basically shit with.
Oh yeah, I had remember the very first time I went there to Motor City. I had that margarita pizza, and it was like first time having Ghetto Blaster. I think Nut Brown. The first time I had that and had that pizza to go with it. I'm like, oh damn, this is really freaking good.
The barbecue chicken pizza goes so well with the Belgian triple, the strawberry rhubarb Belgian triple.
Oh yeah,
it is that beer. They need to really get on distributing that a little bit more.
Yeah.
See, I think the thing about it is, it's food. It's kind of like allergens in that if you do it really good, you'll bring people in on the food program alone, and that. And when you have one person that says, I want to get food, let's go to the brewery, then you get 5 or 6 other people. Seldom do you say, I want to go out, and then you're like, oh, but I don't want to eat, so let's just go to a brewery.
Sure.
You know?
True.
So I think having a food program, not only with the margins, but is such a pull because you can say, come eat and drink, as opposed to just...
Without saying names, there's a brewery that I can think of that's local that survived simply on a food program.
I think is this certain brewery next to a certain closed down racetrack?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes.
I don't know where that is.
Don't worry about it.
We'll tell you when we go off the air.
As far as those that have a food program, do you see any, or can you think of any locations that kind of pull like a polar opposite, where they'll have good beer but bad food?
Urban Rest. Urban Rest.
She's going out swinging.
Or
Shut the whole
It's
show down.
literally like Urban Rest is my most favorite place in this area in Michigan. I love them. I love Holmes. They're doing amazing things, and I think they're such good people.
Holmes.
I know. They don't have food, and all the food trucks in Ferndale suck. They're all like gimmicky. They're not real food trucks.
Hot take after hot take.
I mean,
Damn.
Did you
I'm on
produce
fire, put me
Kamikaze or what? What's
She's just like, I ain't gotta be here next
I
week.
feel no.
She's burning this whole stew right now.
But
I feel very passionate about shitty food trucks. No offense to any local businesses. You know, if you've been out to like California and if you had those like Southern Cal tacos, you know what I'm talking about. This stuff
So
does not.
what's your favorite food truck in Michigan then?
Yeah.
In Michigan?
In Michigan.
In Michigan.
I don't even have one.
I have one.
I guess heroes versus villains are just gourmet
Okay, all right.
sandwiches.
It's good. It's a good choice. Good
Thank
choice.
you for the clapping.
All right.
You're not loud enough.
I know, but I got one that's even better.
Okay.
El Guapo. The taco truck.
Guapo.
El Guapo.
You know,
Is
Guapo Loco.
is it authentic or is it American Mexican? Important
Amex.
questions. I'm asking the important
I mean,
questions.
well, what's your definition? What's the well, let me ask you. What's the difference?
The diff. Oh.
To- yeah.
Oh.
To you.
Oh,
What's
honey.
the difference to you? Oh, honey. Oh,
Is
Angela.
there any?
She's hot tonight.
I'm sorry.
No, this is good radio.
We're sitting over here having the Last Supper. If anybody's actually watching, we are the last.
If anybody's watching.
Hold on. We're having the last sip on one side of the table, so we're all on camera.
Well, you're not really on camera.
She's like, fuck this, I'm going in.
No.
she's like Sweeney Todding everybody. Actually,
If your taco has sprinkled cheddar cheese on it, that is an American.
No.
Mexican.
It's
Okay.
not. No, it's not.
although I am addicted to cheddar cheese. There's nothing there. I think
No, they're always generally at the Detroit City Football Club matches all the time. Eastern Market, all the food truck rallies for the most part, the ones in Ferndale, Utica.
Fleet. Yep.
Yep.
Detroit Fleet.
Yep. They're at Campus Martius all the time. They always try and change. They always do something special with their menu for like special events.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Someone that has different items.
Yeah,
all
so
the time.
one of my favorite things at their food truck is what they call the La Rouge burrito, and they basically just stuff the living hell out of it. Where they got jalapenos, they got chicken. They have like a
burrito.
special. What's that?
so a basic burrito.
No, I don't remember what's in it, but they make a special sauce that goes with it that's special to that particular item. So it's honestly the line for that truck is literally from the truck all the way to the other end where all the other food trucks are at. So it's the longest line there at the beach.
So you brought up Holmes, and Holmes, as far as beer is concerned, has turned into, basically one of this year's meccas. That people have been showing up and lining up for can release after can release after can release. Their food, it's like is everything. It's just kind of like, what is this, like Korean barbecue kind of style?
Not into
and
it.
It's okay for me. It's okay. I am really not that into it. And so for me, I will just go there. I will just go there for the beer. So now, that was the end of that question where I was basically going to say, that has good beer but bad food, but who has good food but bad beer?
Ooh, are we supposed to answer this question?
I'm just wondering.
I already did.
I'm just wondering.
I'm gonna say Ken already
did.
Okay, good food.
But I mean, you don't have to answer. But I mean, do you have any places that you can think of without? If you don't want to say it, you don't want to say it. But are there any places that you could think of that have?
To be honest, Lansing Beer Co.'s beer when it first came out was basic as fuck, but it's a lot better now. But their food program was on point.
I honestly
There was no
always-
reason to even go there for beer. Get the liquor. They had liquor there. They had mixed drinks. But yeah, there was no reason to go. No offense to them. They're great people over there. Their beer is much better now. Way much better. Yeah. But the food was so on point that I wouldn't be surprised if people literally came back just for food.
I've always loved Sherwood's food.
I was actually looking at their menu because
Have you been there?
I have. I've been there one time, but the one time I was there, they had their beer. I'm not sure if they have. I tried to see if I could find it on the menu. I couldn't find it. It was like the jalapeno bread, like pull apart bread.
Did you get it?
Oh yeah, it was so good.
I know their food is really good. It's like it's pretty simple. It's like it's like bar food.
Yep.
I hate to call it bar food because it's definitely not like
it's not bar food in the fact
it's like
that
gourmet.
it's not bar food in the fact that if you go and get order French fries, because that's the easiest thing.
Right.
French fries are the easiest
But they're
thing to make.
I believe they're hand cut fries. Like everything is from scratch. It's completely legit.
Exactly.
But they're not like truffle fries.
No, but their beer cheese soup is like the most bomb beer cheese soup around, and they've always been in my neighborhood, so I've hung out there a lot.
We talk about like soup and chili and all that. Going back to the Motor City Brewing Works, their chili is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like their chili.
Yeah. Speaking of chili, now you can bring up Supernatural because.
Should we rename the show for the rest of the night? Should we call it like
Better on Grill?
better snacks with the boy? I don't know.
Better on Snacks? What?
Going back to local, Roque has I thought some pretty good food there. They have their pizzas. They have their panini sandwiches.
Personally, I always the pizza I thought was average, and I've always felt that the crust, especially on the Detroit style, that shit cuts the top of my mouth.
I'm going to be very specific with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I like Roque's beer. I like Roque's food. I think the service is very friendly. I think the kitchen is slow as fuck over there.
I once asked for a Cobb salad while I was there, and literally gave me everything that wouldn't be on a Cobb salad.
I'm gonna say the first 2 points I agree with. The last two I'm gonna flip it around.
You think the kitchen
I thought
is
the kitchen
fast?
I thought the kitchen was good for me when I went there to get food on my own, but the service. Could probably do.
I don't know. We had good service because we were sitting with the owners.
Well, no, this is the I know. So I went there during the release of Raw Power. Raw Power.
Yeah.
I went there when it was released. I asked for certain things, and there were certain things I didn't get. Never got charged, but the food came out in a reasonable amount of time. I had no issues. Tasted good. Tasted great.
I've never had food come out on time in that place. I'm usually waiting 30 to 40 minutes.
Well, besides the one time that we all went together, and then the one time I went for Raw Power.
What are we talking about?
Roque.
Oh.
Roque.
Or Rovac, as the kids call it.
There was a really interesting thread I thought online about their rebranding, which I think is really awesome. But maybe
Matt should really appreciate that right now because he used to just go number 2 on those labels.
they were
Which
awful.
labels?
On Roque's labels.
Oh, okay.
Did anyone else see that or no?
I just saw one bottle that had a different thing on it, but I didn't really.
They all look the same now, but essentially somebody compared them to a brewery in Florida called Cycle, if anyone's familiar with their design.
Yeah.
And then the conversation came down to the fact that does a good label justify whether a beer is good or bad, the whole marketing
But I mean,
stuff that I like to nerd out about.
A label is just usually as good as a tap handle.
Well-
is that it draws people into getting the beer.
And then that person did their job very correctly because that's exactly what they want. Whether the product is good or bad is aside from the point because the marketing person's just getting paid to make pretty attractive things, right?
Yeah. And eventually, I mean, somebody's going to look
That's
at
why
it.
whatever marketing person made him a lot of money. Pretty attractive thing.
Oh, that was a stretch.
The humble brag. Wow.
Oh no, she's muted. She is.
Wow, did you just mute her on our last show?
Oh hell yeah.
Damn, dude, you're cold.
She's on fire. I need to bring her down.
The only other thing I was thinking of was, any other places that, finally they had one or the other and they brought both together. Obviously Ken brought up Lansing. I wasn't really thinking of a brewery in particular. One place that I thought, that had the beer selection but didn't have the food, but has the food now is One Under over in Livonia.
But that's not a brewery. That's
No. What I'm saying is that it's not a brewery. But, just when I was just thinking of, one place that brought everything together now, and that's the first thing that came
It's
to my
kind of
head.
hard because there's a lot of places that only have beer when they start and then get the food program, and the food program is after. When you have, kind of like what Lansing did, is that their food program was separate from the brewery program. So, it was more a corporate feeling. They own more than just LBC. So when you have that type of thing where you can separate not only the back of the house, the front of the house, but also the kitchen and the brewery, separating those two,
right?
Kind of like Midland Brewing does, where they separate everything and each one's its own entity, all working together to sell beer. And that's the kind of thing that you need to look for when you're looking in these breweries, because if you have a front of the house manager or owner who's worried about the brewery and the kitchen and production and distro and like, you can't do that. You need to delegate, and that's why when as much as we talk about all these other breweries, especially hyper-local, when we talk about Ascension, Oddside, not even Oddside hyper-local, but all these other breweries. I mean, Ascension's pretty hyper-local. It's 25 minutes away.
Oddside.
Drafting Table, all these breweries that have these big releases, big names that people follow, they do it because there's a separation of entities. Like Adam does all the Adam got a brewer. He got Brandon Sabo over there. Right. And that's why, Adam can do other things and not worry because Brandon's going to make great beer. Yeah. When you have Drafting Table hires someone for their distro. They got Mark.
Mission has Mark?
Well, no, Vessel.
Vessel, I thought he was the brewer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, you're going brewer, okay.
Yeah, they got Mark over there, and when you have these types of separations and delegations, you're able to create more than that, because you can't just do everything. When you try to do everything, you sink the ship.
You start to skip.
Yeah, you get wrecked, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh.
It took Rob 2 puns, Matt 1 pun.
Cold-blooded.
All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break.
You can always fall down if that happens.
When we come back, we are going to drink our French pressed beer, and we will be right back with the Better on Draft podcast.
French press.
And we are back, episode 145, Better on Draft podcast. A farewell to Angela.
This is sad. But no, I am happy for you. I think we all
knew it was coming.
Thank you.
So, because you did Brown Iron, you've done your holiday market, now you're doing shorts.
She's good at what she does.
Yeah. I think you guys do need a female on the show, though.
Yeah, well,
but we'd have to kick someone off.
Yeah.
And I can't kick, Rob off because he's.
Oh, were you about to go affirmative action on me right there?
Wow, that's racist.
Shit.
I can't be racist, all right? I dated a black girl once.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I was your black friend.
My God.
I'd say more, but I'm sure I'd dig a hole somehow. So we got a French press here.
Yes.
Why it's got to be a French press?
Because that's the name of it.
What's the name of it?
So we French pressed the You Figure It Out from Griffin Claw with some Cars. Is the bag here? Rob's got the bag. If someone wants to pour this.
It is some Cars dark chocolate coconut almond. So in an exhibit style, I heard you like coconuts. So we put dark chocolate coconuts in your coconut beer so you can coconut.
Go-go nuts.
Go-go nuts.
So somebody want to pour me some glasses? So I just got to do this, right, Angela?
Yep.
Yep.
Do I just keep going?
Push it.
All the way.
Push it real good.
All right, let's get some glasses.
So do you do it what? You don't do it like multiple times?
Just one.
Your Air Jordans, you pump them out the cover?
These are not the British. British lights are the straw clip thingy. It's not the pumps.
Hold on, I got to figure out how to pour this.
So Ken bought a French press.
And
this is the first time he's using it, to our understanding. Is that right, Ken?
That is correct.
So you bought a French press, just a French press beer.
Correct.
And you didn't figure to read the instructions or anything?
Listen.
Were they in French?
Oui. There we go. I found it.
Oui, bonjour.
A good gamer never reads instructions.
Yeah,
because instructions are in the damn game as it is.
I know, right?
But quick.
What's going on?
I poured so much in one glass.
When you were a kid,
give me the French press.
Hold on. So Nick, we're gonna talk.
Well, Ken figures that out.
Ken realizes how to pour a beer. Speaking of games, when you invited a friend over to play a game, and they didn't know the controls, would you tell them what the controls were, or would you make them figure it out?
Yeah,
I'd only tell them if they asked. Most of my friends being gamers would love to figure it out themselves.
Yes.
So I wouldn't jump in until they actually asked me.
So let's say Mortal Kombat. If you're playing a Mortal do you tell them the?
Oh hell no! I'm whooping ass. I'm not telling you shit.
So you're just gonna make them earn it and figure it out.
Come, get over here. You're getting your ass whooped. No.
Okay, Scarf.
No.
Nick,
I would give them like the basics, like A is punch, B is kick, C is stuff.
but you're not teaching down toward A.
No,
down
no,
toward B.
and dude, I'm like the worst when it
Okay.
comes to fucking fighting games. Like pass this down. The pinnacle of my fighting game career is
Tekken 3.
Tekken 7. Actually.
Oh, it was a Tekken. Oh, that was
Well, actually, you know who's coming out as a new character next year?
Huh.
Negan
Ooh, wow.
from Walking Dead.
That's
What are we talking
ridiculous.
about?
We're being nerds while Ken learns how to pour beer.
Surprise, surprise. On both parts.
The look. The look.
Yeah,
right.
that's one of my
So-
groomsmen right
The look,
there.
the look is on fire.
All right, so
this is
appearance. That had some.
It's a good thing I got glasses on.
effects.
Too bad I didn't have
Yeah.
my safety glasses on.
All right.
So looking at
Onto the
this,
beer.
there's definite floaties from
Definitely.
Yeah.
from the nut balls.
Yeah.
So we did this
That-
again with the cards.
Ooh, damn.
We got
Dark
some
chocolate, coconut almonds.
Yeah.
Can I have the rest?
with some, is it good?
Oh, it's fucking great, dude.
So
It's like-
Angela actually had a little bit of the beer because she never had the beer before we did it.
This tastes
So-
like those Girl Scout cookies.
The Samoas?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Whatever the
Samoa
chocolate coconuts
Mints.
are.
The only cookie that
So we'll eat the
matters
Thin
from
Mints.
Right?
Yeah, right. This is like
Straight out the freezer, too.
Yeah, this is like Samoa, basically.
Samoa what? I see what I did there.
Ooh,
God.
wow.
Killing me, Smalls.
I mean, that is that is
that is
pretty damn good. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
The You Figure It Out on its own, I personally was not too big of a fan of. But
You weren't big on it, is what you're saying.
no, not at all.
the extra coconut and chocolate do this justice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. The chocolate definitely complements the vanilla too. It's got that like almost like the Neapolitan because nobody wants the strawberry.
Hey,
What?
I don't know.
I was waiting for you to say I like the strawberry.
I don't mind it. I'm just trying to be inclusive.
Signs of a serial killer right there. You like the strawberry flavor in Neapolitan.
Can definitely taste the dark chocolate.
You get
a lot
it's
in
like
this.
right off the bat. You
Yep.
get the dark chocolate. The coconut just sits there the entire time.
Yep.
You don't really get the stout. The stout is
It's a
Yeah.
porter. It's a porter, not a stout.
No, this is.
It says it's a milk stout in a can.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a tini. What? I thought that was a.
Matt's
no,
mind has
grab the
been
can
blown.
for
it. It is a
ladies
milk
and
stout.
gentlemen.
Thought it was a porter.
But the stout, like from true to style stouts, the stout portion of it is essentially gone, and it's just for me, it's just chocolate,
Coconut.
the coconut. There's like the vanilla. You really, as far as almonds are concerned, with the almonds actually being in the press, I don't get an almond flavor off of it at all. But yeah, it's just that's all I get is chocolate, coconut, vanilla.
The dark chocolate's definitely the dominant flavor. in
Yes.
this. The coconut, it's like you said, it's pretty mellow.
Yeah.
It's there, but it's really mellow. You really get the dark chocolate.
Yeah, because
More than anything.
it's kind of funny because usually with dark chocolate you normally expect more of a bitter than you do a sweet.
Yes.
And
Coming from the baker.
yeah. So there's a lot of sweetness that actually comes from this, but you definitely have it's dark chocolate.
Yeah. What's the ABV on this, Ken? Is it
So the ABV
6?
on this beer itself is probably somewhere on the can.
It's 8?
There it is, 6.
6? Well, this is. I mean, with the French press, you definitely don't taste 6.
No,
No, you don't.
no, not at all. This would definitely make me want to get cans of this just to French press this.
Yeah.
I would be curious to do the same press with just like a regular stout. Because
Like
I mean, it's hard to say how much coconut. I mean, it's really good, but it's just hard to say like how much coconut we added, even with just like a sip beforehand. But
I think I would be mad because the vanilla wouldn't be there.
throw a vanilla
I think
bean
with
in
with the
there.
vanilla being
bean.
part of being in the brewing process with the beer, I feel like I would be missing that.
The one bummer about pressing is the texture change in the beer. It's
I see the floaties, but I don't like feel it in my mouth. Like
I agree
They're
with
like-
Ken.
viscosity.
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
they're so tiny.
I mean, come on. Places have glitter beers now. You talk about beers with floating.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the whole beer is floating. Now, granted, of course, Supernaturals is really good. That unicorn blood, that is actually a very good beer.
Yeah, Matt got some on him.
Yeah.
The unicorn blood.
He did. Yeah. But that, you would talk about a beer that has floaties, without a doubt, are the glitter beers.
I actually thoroughly enjoy this. I think this is a very good.
Hold that up for me, Ken, if you could, real quick.
Hold up.
Hold up the French press.
There you go.
For our friends at on Untapped. Thank you, sir.
I mean, that's a nice French press, too.
That is very nice.
Where'd you get that? Brookstone?
There's a website. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's got a Z in it.
Amazon?
Yeah, that's it.
Was it from the new? I wonder if it came from the new distribution facility there in Shelby.
I didn't
I doubt
offer
it.
to pick it up, and it took 2 days still. So.
I doubt it.
You still pay tax on it, so it didn't matter.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
Ken.
and I still pay tax.
I'm willing. I'm willing to bet money that it did not come from there.
Wow.
They're still doing the landscaping out there for crying out loud.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say when Dan talks about it in like Phoenix, like he can get like same day delivery on a bunch of things from Amazon.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How?
You can
Is he
get.
close to one of those warehouses?
He's close to one of the
Yeah.
distro centers.
But it's got to be like the distro centers that have like the common household stuff, the stuff that is bought a lot, because not every facility of theirs is going to have all those kinds of things. There's going to have ones that are going to have like some pretty unique stuff. Still can get it in 2 days, but definitely.
Do we need things that immediate? Like,
Well, yeah, that's the way we live now.
like
The way we live today is that we want things now before we really ever want them.
I
What do you
just
think about it?
I just think I hope society doesn't degenerate into you're on the can and you realize you run out of toilet paper and you Amazon it and someone shows up at your door within 5 minutes with a 4-pack for you.
Honestly, I think that could happen.
That's
I mean, that'd be pretty convenient to just leave the button in there.
the dash button.
The dash button.
The dash
just leave it
button.
as like, oh, damn, I'm stranded. Just sit there.
I honestly,
I mean, you're in the bathroom with your damn phone anyway.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Watching YouTube videos
Right.
and stuff.
So I picked this up from Zaytuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills. Went and saw Jack today.
Hey, Jack.
Jack.
Just south of M59 on Rochester Road. He had the single available of the beer, and once I saw that, I went to the snacks aisle because they have snacks there, and saw the little cars, and I'm like, all right, let's do it.
KARS.
KARS.
ARS.
He does singles?
He does singles
I haven't
there.
been there in a long time.
He does singles and
Hi,
draft
Jack.
beer. They do growler sales there too,
And great cigars.
and great. Oh god damn it!
Attaboy.
You just every single week, every single week.
You walk in
Bingo, bingo.
and you walk into it every week.
And people say I tell the same stories every single day.
So
Saw what you did there.
Yeah.
Don't appreciate it.
do we have a drop to start?
Oh yes, we do. Because every week with segment
Here
2.
is Robert with the beer news.
Thank you, Kenneth.
The news.
What's happened
What?
this week?
A couple things. So I'm going to start off with this article I ran across because the Brewers Association, since Angelo over here decided to go all M on us and break out kamikaze, it seems like the Brewers Association is doing the same thing. As they put out their, I guess you could pretty much call it their next diss track on Big Beer. The Independent Craft Seal, as we all know and love endearingly, decided they're going to come out with a new commercial campaign for this seal, and it is going to basically tout itself as to signal that breweries are quote unquote independently owned. So I don't know if you guys have seen the commercial, but basically it's a 30-second spot, and this is what it says throughout the whole thing. Independence defines us. It's the freedom to create with no limits. It's the difference between real craft beer and the rest. From more than 6,000 independent craft breweries, there's a seal that represents that independence. It marks the community that answers only to beer. Our bottles and cans may not have the flag, but our beer is made with everything it stands for. Seek the seal and know that's independence you're tasting.
Wow. That's
Now-
a mouthful.
Yeah.
Did they just splash America at the end of that by chance?
They did not. They basically just splashed a hashtag Seek the Seal at the end of it. Now Pete Marino, the president of Miller Coors' craft beer division, he basically responded saying, "We continue to believe that the quality of the beer is what matters most, and all of the brewers we've purchased who are still actively involved in running and managing their business are no more or less crafty than they were before we bought them." And he also adds that it's highly ironic that several companies using the independent seal have significant private equity investment. I kind of feel like with the driving this whole independent seal kind of down our throats, it's like beating a dead horse with a glue stick. We're getting to a point where it's like, okay, I get the seal is there. I get that you're independent, and if you make good beer, I'm going to drink it whether it has a seal or not.
So it's basically like if you believe in it, sacrifice whatever you have to get there.
Ooh, exactly. Thanks, Cap. But I guess as you just kind of threw me off right there with the Cap reference. I don't know. I guess it's like as said by one of our sponsors at North Center Brewing.
Where's that?
It's located in Northfield, Michigan.
South of Baseline Road.
Baseline Road.
Did we get it right? South of Baseline Road?
He's not paying attention.
Hey, high five. We got it.
Good job. But I mean, it's like I said. If you like it, then it's a good beer.
But yeah, I think the premise here though is we look at the numbers. 8.5 out of every 10 beers is still a macro lager, right?
Right. I guess the thing is that right now, especially when you have all of these cannabis companies that are popping up out of nowhere. You've got Constellation Brands who just put $40 billion investment to canopy growth. CGC. I can't remember the full name.
Cannabinoid growth.
No, Canopy Growth Company.
Okay.
They just put a $4 billion investment to that company, which basically shot their stock price. The CGC shot their stock price up.
I was going to say
about 20-25%.
Holy shit.
You've got the big beer companies that are starting to invest money in these cannabis companies because they're finding that there's going to be this market that we're no longer going to be. We're still going to be making alcohol. We're still going to be making beer, but now we have the chance to make something that's going to have cannabis in it without the alcohol,
totally,
and be able to make a profit off of that.
Yep.
I mean, is this really a time for independent beer to be still fighting with big beer?
I don't think so. Focus on what you do. Don't worry about what the other people are doing because they're going to go ahead and just do whatever they're going to want to do anyway.
Right. They've got the money.
They have the money. They're going to always have the money because there's always going to be people that want that stuff. There's always going to be people that want Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller Lite. There's always going to be those people. Regardless, you might cut into their market share a little bit.
You might take their market share, but if you take their market share, you basically take 0.5% a year.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, here's the thought process: the people that are turning 18 to 21 right now are the largest populated group since the baby boom, like ever. Like the last largest one was the baby boomers.
Okay.
So the premise is now. Everybody's, hyper local. We go to our local breweries. We support our local businesses. Mm-hmm. The premise here is to instantly educate in the beer aisle that this is a legit craft or independent brewery. And there's still a little bit of niche for that when someone is looking in the brewery and they can't, define like the 40 different breweries that are in the one door, whether it's Dogfish or Hogfish. If Hogfish has if maybe Hogfish has that little stamp on it and Dogfish doesn't, maybe somebody, because they want to be a hipster and pay the extra dollar for locally owned independent stuff, they grab that.
Yeah.
But and we talked earlier about labels and tap handles that draw attention to people who may see something and it may attract their attention to the point where they want to buy the beer. That label barely takes up an inch.
That's actually a very, very interesting point that you bring that up, Rob, because I personally have gone to bars with tons of tap handles, not knowing what they really have.
Like Brown Iron?
What's that?
Like Brown
Brown Iron Brew House? And where's that located again?
26 Mile and Van Dyke.
Up your butt to the left.
Oh, God. You're a jerk. Anyway, gone there, and you look at the tap handles, and then you see one that's a little bit different from all the other ones you notice, and it grabs your attention.
Yeah.
That's one of the easiest marketing plans that anyone can have. If you make a kick-ass tap handle that no one's ever seen before, you're gonna.
It may be a sour peach ale. I'm not gonna like it. But
but like,
when I get it, I love that tap handle.
But
Look at that.
But hell, it's got the yin yang symbol with a dragon going through it. For all I don't know. Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Dogfish Namaste handle, that little rocking skeleton. If anyone's seen it.
No.
Oh man, no.
All right, well look out for it.
We'll have to find that one on Google Image here later. But I mean, yeah, as simple as something as a tap handle. I mean, the Brewers Association they shouldn't have to worry about what the big companies are doing. They should focus on what they're doing. Focus on your craft, focus on the product, and then eventually you will cut into the market share. You got Budweiser and all these other big companies throwing in millions and millions of dollars during the Super Bowl, and I'm going to pick on the Super Bowl because that's the time when that's when they'll go for craft beer, as we saw at the most recent Super Bowl.
Yep.
And take pot shots, open shots at the craft beer industry.
Like you said, they have the money.
Yeah, they have the money.
Right.
They're going to continue to get the money, and on top of that, they're still going to be the kings of the beer world. Granted that their market share might come down at 0.5% every year, but guess what?
When it comes down, they're just going to spend the money to buy independent craft brewers to bring that market share back up.
And you know what? If they're a really, really, really good company, and they see that industry is going to not make it at a certain point, guess what they do? They rebrand and they sell somewhere else. Mm-hmm. There's all the best companies in the world. When they know they can't survive in a certain market, they switch markets. That's what Nokia did. They started off as a paper company, started selling cell phones. Once they saw the cell phones weren't doing all that great, guess what they ended up doing? They started doing something with computers.
Yeah.
But they're still around. They've been around for over a fucking century.
Thanks, Engage.
Yeah, Engage.
The Nokia Engage. I used to sell those.
Wait, you used to sell those?
Oh yeah, dude. I used to work for Singular. That's how long ago
When
it was.
did you used to work for Singular? I don't remember this.
So I
Must have been for like a hot minute.
No. I was there for like 6 to 8 months. I mean, it was for a high school job. That's a fair time.
I don't know. I worked my
guess so.
first high school job for 7 years.
I was with my boy girl for 6 years, dude. No, but I guess that would be okay.
Yeah, I worked there 2 different times. It was a tanning salon / dish network salesman
this just got so weird.
I used to go tanning like twice a week.
Dude, you used to like go tanning?
Oh, hell
I didn't know that.
Should we post
It was
our
free.
tanning days?
Oh,
I used to
I don't tan.
like 5 days a week.
I used to
almost
tan. I used to have frosted tips when I had hair on the top of my head.
I think we might be killing Nick.
I'm Mediterranean. I don't tan at all.
You got a little of the melanin.
Why do you think I have all these freckles?
Is that from all the tanning?
I tanned a lot.
Did you?
It's pretty disgraceful.
There
I
was
tanned so much I had those, like, you know when the girls get the white eyelids because they're covering them with those little goggles, but the rest of them is super tan. I was that girl.
Oh, we're gonna have to dig through some Facebook photos because I'm sure.
You'll
maybe,
find them.
you know, we could find if we could find Angela's MySpace.
Oh my
No.
God.
Nothing is ever long.
I went through a whole internet cleanse at one point when I first went away to, well, I didn't go away to college. I don't know where I was going with that. When I stayed home and went to community college, I did an internet cleanse and I deleted everything you could have ever found during a time that you could actually still do that.
Hell, freaking
My live journal, my Facebook, or my
Nice.
my MySpace, all
Your
gone.
Friendster.
your Friendster.
I never had that.
Live journal.
Yeah.
She had a live journal.
Hell, Ken found the photos of me when I was Pauly D for Christmas or
Those are on
Halloween
your
one year.
Facebook.
Those are on my Facebook.
That's where I found those.
I was surprised I still got my
Wait,
job with those photos.
we need to pull those up.
I wanted to find very specific photos of
my
you, and I
bachelor
could not
party?
Oh yeah, for the Facebook invites for your party.
So, real quick story, we'll get back to the news.
Yeah.
I was Pauly D for Halloween. I think it was 2010. There's several photos of me. Yes, you can't find them because they're blocked. Of me standing.
DM me.
Of me standing on a speaker in my.
We posted those to the Bet on Draft page, remember?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, you didn't.
We're going to for this
Oh,
episode.
screw you. I'm deleting him.
We should do like some throwbacks.
Me standing on a speaker with a cup. I think it might have been PBR at the time. It was still a good beer. Me standing on a speaker dancing.
All right, so let's get one more news article out of the way before we take a break.
All right, so back in June, Anchor Brewing, they launched their flagship beer, which is their steam beer, straight out of San Fran. And they put that in cans for the first time in their 122-year history. Wow. But they wanted to go with a single-serve option and decided to go with a size that apparently other breweries are starting to see as a new thing. Not 8 ounce. Going to what is called stovepipe cans. 19.2 ounces. Oscar Blues, according to the article, it said that Oscar Blues introduced the size back in 2012. I think that was with the Dale's Pale Ale.
Is that a drug reference? Stovetop can?
No, because it looks like the pipe that comes off of a wooden stove.
Yeah. Yeah, you're too young for that shit.
Yeah, only Robin remembers this
exactly. I had to put the damn wood in the stove and cook with that damn thing. So
we're getting into dangerous territory.
Yeah, you don't know about that
time frame, people.
All right, so Oscar Blues were the ones who introduced it, but Lagunitas, Founders. Founders has been doing it with All Day IPA, and they actually plan to do that with Solid Gold by the end of the year. But also New Belgium, I think they're doing it with Day Glazer. Sierra Nevada, Revolution, Dogfish Head, they've all used the stovepipe cans. But I guess the thing I was thinking that is, a little over a year ago, we were talking about how bombers, the 22-ounce bottles, were supposed to be going away. Obviously, Founders still uses them because they just put out Better Half and put that in bombers. You've got Griffin Claw who still uses them. But there's still this talk that the bombers are going away, and now we've got a can that is just under 3 ounces less than those bombers.
Did you get the Doritos?
I think you just got the Doritos and the Milwaukee's
The
best.
flavor's not bad. I got the flaccid wet Dorito that hit me in the mouth.
Oh gosh, that's an awful photo.
All right, so
Wow.
I spray tan for that.
There's so many things happening in this room right now.
They just pulled the photos of me as Pauly D for Halloween.
Well, now we have to post
At me, bro.
Dude, I'm gonna get fired.
We don't need to post it.
Why did you get
It's just
fired
us
for
to
that?
enjoy.
I don't know. I actually hid those photos when I was getting my job interview for DT.
So with these cans, I guess I'm trying to look at here is, do we think a 19-ounce can is a better format to go with?
Yes.
No.
I got.
Now, one thing that
I think it depends.
that I found in the article, Jeremy Rudolph, the operations manager for Oscar Blues, he basically said, because now I believe Oscar Blues or a brewery is one of the official brewery of Red Rocks, and he said that a venue like Red Rocks, where room can be sold out, the can is a better vessel while you're shoulder to shoulder with an energetic crowd, and that you basically have a beer and a half. And it's big enough to share, but it's not so big that it's too intimidating.
Cans in general, and that's why Oscar Blues, probably, in Colorado, you do cans because you're doing so much traveling and outdoor activities. I don't think that a 19-ounce can is a better option than a bomber. I think that they're both kind of obnoxious in my eyes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it more expensive to bottle than it is to can? Is that
that was my understanding.
Someone chime in on it.
That was my understanding with the whole articles about trying to get rid of the bomber.
All right.
It's also more expensive to insure a bottle than it is to insure a can.
All right. So following that line of thinking,
and it's heavier to ship.
Yes. So following that line of thinking, a bomber carries what? 20-something ounces?
22
ounces.
22 ounces versus 19 and
0.2.
.2. I got a picture of 1050 from Oscar Blues.
Yeah.
They got the regular 12-ounce can and then the stovepipe can. Mm-hmm. From that and it's the barrel-aged one, too. The barrel-aged 1050.
You ain't doing shit after you drink that.
Oh, yeah. You're not doing shit. But B, imagine the amount of revenue that they can get from one can versus the one bottle. You're not putting as much in there. I'm trying to walk through this from a sales point.
Yeah.
To justify the bomber not being the better price point. You're not putting as much beer in it, so you might be able to sell more. Technically, 50 cents extra more
beer, in the long run.
In the long run, as opposed to the short run. Maybe I'm going a little too in depth here.
But I mean, you're right. It's like you're having more beer to distribute to other people.
Yes.
You're not using the bottles, which is a costlier media than it is with a can.
Yeah, I mean,
even despite the fact that there being tariffs on aluminum, I don't know where they're getting their aluminum from.
I don't know
aluminium.
Aluminium.
Shit, sorry,
not aluminum. Aluminium.
Yeah, we say aluminium north of Canada.
Yeah.
North of Canada.
So we don't know where they're getting it from, but still, it would seem like if that is becoming the more popular format, then the benefits outweigh.
Well, the premise also that can will fit in a cooler better than a bottle will. So every party store that you go to is going to have single serves of your macros.
Yeah.
So this gives it marketing space there.
Less chance to get a break too.
You've got a higher price point.
Yep.
So. And now you can take the can anywhere. You can't necessarily take the glass anywhere.
Right.
So this is a more usable vessel. So I guess and then also, I guess thirdly, the Ball Corporation makes almost every brand's cans.
Yes.
So this
look on the
company,
Coke can, for example, you see the Ball logo. Yeah.
So the company there's a giant company out there that just makes cans for beer. I don't know if there's a bottle company or one bottle company that does it as exclusively as cans. So
probably not. I mean, I don't know.
Here's my thought. I know the story behind the stovepipe can with Dale's Pale is Dale was an outdoors guy, and he wanted to be able to take his cans with him. So that's why he didn't put Dale's Pale Ale in a bottle. He put it in a can.
Sure.
So as soon as they start making those cans, for one brewery, they've got to do it for others.
Yes.
Right.
So now there's an all-out sales bulletin for any brewery that wants 19.2s because they've already got the market.
Right.
Yeah.
And not Dale's, but Oscar Blues is in a triumvirate with Perrin and Cigar City, right?
Right.
Which I guess would be the next 19.2s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine no rules in a stovepipe?
That'd be kind of weird.
Could you imagine no rules in anything but a bomber? Because that's what I'm waiting for.
I'm waiting for 12-ounce cans.
Plus, think about this.
Smashable.
Yes.
Think about it this. You're outside, right?
Yeah.
You need a way to cut the wax off and pop the bottle.
You don't really need to cut the wax. You can totally pop off a... You don't have to wax
What I'm
off.
saying is, how much easier is this?
I know. I'm just.
You can open the cap
I'm just
without taking
debunking
the
the
wax
wax off. Is all. I
will give credit. I will give credit to Griffin Claw because at least they give you a starting point to tear off the wax at the top.
Yes, as we did with the Flying Buffalo earlier today. Yes.
Yeah.
Going back to the initial
Their
comment.
wax is also very thick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This
than
is.
some
Look
others.
at that.
You like the thick wax?
Yeah. Look at that. Shit. Look at that. It's freaking bending, dude. Back to the comment about you're in a crowd of people with cans and all that. Mm-hmm. We go to Pine Knob, for example. They sell Rochester Mills there.
Yeah.
Pine Knob Pilsner, and I think they sell Rochester Red there. 2 excellent beers, by the way. And I think they come in the big pint cans.
Yeah.
So if a venue such as Pine Knob, yes, it's
I know. For those of you who are younger,
for those of you who are millennial, it's DT
I was going to say millennials.
Well,
I was just going to.
For those of you that are that, but you go to a pop place like that and you get those cans. I mean, you could probably, in the long run, still extend your sales a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a little extra money with the can.
And you don't have to go back to. I mean, you like you said, a beer and a half. You don't have to miss out.
Yeah.
From everything that's going on.
So from a customer perspective, that might be might be better.
You're only getting 3 more ounces at that rate, 16 to 19.
But you know what? When you had a couple of them and you're listening to 311, what difference does it make?
Well, also, I mean,
or the Offspring.
If you haven't.
I don't know. Those are the first two bands.
I got nothing for either one.
I don't know. I think they did play DTE not that long ago.
Well, if you have an empty bottle or an empty can, which one's more?
I mean, you're all mixed up. There's nothing left to do.
That's 311.
I seem to be struck by you.
All right, we're taking a break. I am ending
Oh no.
these musical puns. We will be right back to the Round Draft Podcast. And we are back, but on Draft Podcast, episode 145, a farewell to Angela.
This is crazy. This is a fun show tonight.
It is.
a
It
lot of
is.
fun.
So I've got some great news before we kind of go into our third segment.
Okay. Let's
Here
start with-
is Ken with the news.
Here is Ken. So
What kind of news do you have for us?
I have a lot of great news.
Oh shit.
Number one, for those of you who missed B Nectar's Ferndale Palooza, the leftover beers and all the beers that they have left are going to be on draft at the brewery
They're better on draft.
on October 6th. They're having a party. It's kind of like a Ferndale Palooza Part 2.
Are you
boy.
hosting it or something?
I am not because it's on Nick's wedding day, so I will be busy. But I was invited, and obviously we can't make it, but I said I would make sure to tell everyone about it.
Yes.
And the following Saturday at Jimmy John's Field, we are hosting a beer fest ourselves. Matt might be able to give you a little bit more insight in regards to what is going on
This
over
is
there.
his brainchild.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so again, we have 26 breweries being featured. It'll be a token event. $30 gets you 10 tokens
And a pint glass.
and a free pint glass with a mascot logo.
One
on
of the
it.
4 mascots of Jimmy John's USPBL.
And then we'll have some games going. I've got some people out there making some games for me,
Really?
so we'll see how well that goes. But the first of many, I'm hoping. And we're gonna have a lot of fun, play some games, drink some beer, and maybe make an ass of ourselves. Who knows? Maybe we'll get kicked out. Maybe we'll go streaking around the bases, and we'll see.
Well, we don't want to do it in Utica because I'm sure Utica's very, very, I don't know,
Hoity-toity?
strict. Hoity-toity, maybe.
Hoity toity.
And not to mention the police department's right across the street from the
It is.
stadium.
Okay, I guess you just have to run the other way then.
Call an Uber. Uber gets to Brown Iron, so therefore it
Yeah,
won't
there
get to
you
Jimmy
go.
John's
And
Field.
lift, or yeah, you can lift it.
I'll have the house to myself that weekend.
Ooh, so if anyone out there gets too drunk, Nick is saying you can stay at his place.
I'm gonna be drunk that freaking.
You're gonna have to ride on Nick's handlebars.
Oh, gee. No, because I rode my bike to the game. Me and Matt went to a USPBL game a couple weeks ago.
For some reason, I felt like that was an ET reference.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I know.
Wow, Rob.
I am sorry. I am sorry.
So along with that,
What else did I do?
we are giving away a pair of tickets to either the Fall Beer Fest or the Winter Beer Fest. These are VIP tickets, so you get in with the enthusiasts 1 hour before anyone else.
What? How did they get in before we do?
Well,
Calm down, little one.
yeah, we get in when we get in. So you get in an hour before with the enthusiasts. You can get a Saturday Winter Beer Fest ticket without having to worry about waiting in line for tickets on whatever morning that is that they go on sale. Or you can join us. We'll be at both the winter and the fall on Friday nights, or whatever day. But you get a pair. You can choose whatever day you want.
It's a nice pair.
Yeah, it is a nice pair. All you have to do is go to Facebook, Better on Draft, look for our survey, our Season 4 survey. It should be pinned right at the top. And if you fill out that survey with your email address, we'll be picking one lucky winner on our 3rd anniversary show, which is October 5th, 2018.
The day
Can
before
we
I
say?
get married?
Can we say with an asterisk that shit ass surveys will not be considered?
Oh, no, they'll be considered.
No, I mean, if you have negative things,
I'll
then
still consider
that
them.
is fine. But if you're just gonna sit there and just go Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang through the whole damn survey,
Somebody did that?
Oh, yeah.
Don't give him ideas.
Gucci, man.
No, Gucci Gang,
Gucci gang.
which not to be confused with the Tucci Gang.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
Saturday Night Live.
Tucci.
Stanley Tucci. It's a great gang.
Tucci.
Yes.
right?
Thought we were talking about Lil Wayne.
And guys, I have a huge deal going on for the next week. So until the 14th of September, Zatuna Liquor is going to be giving away 10% off beer and wine purchases.
Excuse me?
Period.
What?
10% off
They have to mention
beer and wine
Better on draft.
if they mention Better on Draft.
All right.
For the next 7 days, so I better get the show out ASAP.
Next 6 days, then.
So until the 14th, if you go to Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, whoever is there, if you say, hey, I was referred to by Better on Draft, you get 10% off all of your beer and wine.
And cigars?
Nope, just beer and wine.
Mead.
Beer and wine. I don't know.
Boss Tweed.
Well, that is a beer. And Boss Tweed does come out next week.
The Bouse.
Praise be.
To the Boss Tweed. So that's all the news I had. That was a lot of news.
It was good.
That was all.
Not bad.
Also, while you're doing the survey, make sure you buy tickets right there for the Beer Fest at Jimmy John's Field.
Yes, buy tickets.
Yes.
Beer Fest, Jimmy
It
John's.
will
Field.
sell out.
I mean, with the weather that we're on pace to have, I think it's going to be a pretty good event.
It will sell out.
It'll sell out
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so. A lot of good places to go afterwards too. Shamrock.
Oh yeah, you can go to the locker. Oh wait,
Steampunk.
Oh,
Steampunk.
Oh,
is
did the
out
locker
there.
room close?
The locker room
Yeah,
is in
it's
fact closed.
Oh, you mean the 2 beers and pizza for like $3
Yeah,
was
for like
a bad
$5,
business
yeah.
model?
Yeah. No, that's closed, but you still got Muldoon's. You got Steampunk. You got Shamrocks. Which
Hatchies?
What's that?
Is Hatchies
No,
still
it's
there?
not Hatchies anymore. It's Danny J's, I think.
That strip just turns over
It does.
faster
It
than
does.
anything.
It does. I think the biggest mainstays were, I think, Locker Room up until just recently, obviously.
And Muldoon's.
Muldoon's.
Caspar?
Caspar / Hogs Hollow.
Yeah.
Yep. You have.
Wait, why does it have 2 different names?
It's like
Caspar is like. Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Hogs Hollow is like the restaurant. Caspar is
the bar.
The bar, I guess. You can say.
So it's kind of like
They got really good barbecue, though.
remember when Bucharest was a park bar?
Yes.
Downtown?
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
No.
I do remember that. Yeah. But yeah, man.
When
Tons of
we're
stuff
talking
out
about these beers, obviously you go to Jimmy John's Beer Fest, you go to Steampunk, who has a great beer selection. Have you guys ever been to a bar that has, like, you never expected it to have a beer selection or a certain beer?
Yep.
Because it
Yep.
was a dingy dive bar.
Yep.
It was a random Applebee's or something like
Yep.
that. You know, what did you see in what beer?
I got one right off the get-go. Waldenburg Bar, I think it's 21 or 22 Mile in Romeo Plank, Macomb Township. Blue collar bar as you could possibly get it, but they had one beer from that was not Macro, and it was Powerboat from Rogue.
Yes, Rogue, live on.
And I think that was the first time I ever had Powerboat. And
So I'm
They
looking
went
at
hard on distribution when they hit the market.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, we talked to them about that.
And I like how that was part of the plan from the very start. I think it was in the first year.
Yeah.
From the first year of opening, that was their plan from the very start.
I want to say shout out to all the Buffalo Wild Wings that was serving Hop Slam in the frosted 22-ounce glasses for a few years.
for a few years.
I haven't been back in a while, so I can't say whether or not they still. But I mean, that was the jam in January. You're going to B-Dubs and getting your 22-ounce of Hop Slam
It's interesting to see
for like $6.
Right. It's interesting to see like places like Buffalo Wild Wings starting to go
It's all the allocations because of the numbers.
Yeah.
It's just a numbers
more
game.
local with their beer selections.
So I'm looking at Waldenburg Bar from Google.
Yes.
And from June 2017, they have Leinenkugel,
Okay.
Coors Light,
Yep.
Bud Light,
Yep.
Shock Top, Miller Lite, and Labatt Blue.
And Powerboat.
Yes.
But if you look at the updated one, well, this isn't even updated. This is the same draft handles. So I see the exact same, and you got Labatt Blue, Miller Lite. It looks like some pumpkin ale I can't see because somebody's pouring a giant Bud Light, Coors Light, and Mango Unchained.
Oh! The blue collar bar going Bathin.
So,
that is awesome.
If you're ever in Macomb, stop by Shelby Pub because they also have a crazy beer list for a little pub setting. They always have they'll always have No Rules or Boss Tweed or something that you want on tap. It's crazy.
So I've been to the Shelby Pub before.
And what'd you think of the
I've hosted Quizzo there. I got really confused when they charged me because it said Gathering Place, because it used to be the Gathering Place associated with the Gathering Place in Troy. But I don't remember too much of. Holy shit! Wow.
What?
You might have hosted pre or post makeover.
Yeah, this is definitely pre-makeover. I'm looking at their tap handle right now. They got a legit setup right now.
That's what I'm saying. And they have like these
It must have been a
Mediterranean
parent,
nachos.
a parent takeover. Wow, this is October 2016 is what I'm looking at, and I see 6 parents on draft, but there's like another maybe 40 draft handles.
Yeah, they're up in the, I want to say around 40, 50.
Yeah, because I mean, you're looking at
All your domestics and then some.
So there's another place that kind of fits in with Waldenburg a little bit. It's called Goldie's, and this is also on Romeo Plank, just north of Hall Road. They got
places I've never thought to go. I'm glad that you've checked it out, so I never have to
go. Well, my fiance, she's done
likes the hole in walls.
She likes the hole in walls.
Wait, what are you going to say about the Kit Kat?
I don't know. She's been to Kit Kat though.
You've never been?
I've never been.
Okay.
Isn't the Kit Kat Club?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think they don't have air conditioning there, so
and they don't take credit cards.
And they don't take credit cards.
But they do a really nice lap dance for your birthday.
I just really
from a very heavy set gentleman.
Okay, good thing I'm not going there on my birthday.
It's kind of like the locker room minus the heavy set gentleman.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
you ever get a blowjob at the locker room?
I have not.
I wanted to say something, but I wasn't going to be that person.
Back to beer.
Anyway, Eric the Red at Goldie's Saloon. Looking at their recent check-ins, apparently they have Bel Air Brown there now from Shorts. So they do have a ballast, supposedly a ballast point. I don't know if that's true or not, but Eric the Red, I know for a fact because one of the most recent check-ins was me at Goldie's.
Nice.
Really good mac and cheese bites there, by the way.
Mac and cheese bites are
they're so good. And they got a golden tea there as well. And the dome hockey.
Oh, that's
dome hockey.
Do you remember dome hockey?
That's
dome
hockey.
That's everything that is a bar, right?
Yeah, that is like and then all the softball trophies they line the entire bar.
That's you don't know what dome hockey. Hold on. Time out. Angela is unaware of what dome hockey is.
You know what dome hockey is?
I'm more of a darts player when I go to the bar.
They don't
so
have
this,
darts.
Angela, come around.
I'm uninterested.
This is dome hockey. It's basically.
Oh yeah,
it's basically a foosball.
That's really what makes or breaks a hole in the wall coming. The dingy dartboard in the corner and the chalkboard because it's not digital. That's what a hole in the wall is.
I remember my first time playing dome hockey. There was an arcade on Gratiot Avenue.
Across Magics.
No, it wasn't that. It was down the street from there. Galaxy. Across the street from the Macomb Mall.
You slummed it.
What's that?
I wasn't slumming it like that.
Oh, well, I'm just telling you.
I was going to the name brand Chuck E. Cheese's.
No, but I think Major Magic is at 15, north of 15 miles.
I have no idea.
Some people
Dude,
have
I'm an East Sider, man.
Yeah, but I was like 10. I don't remember.
Okay, I was 11. Big fucking deal.
So for me, the reason I brought it up is I was thinking back. So yesterday we went to I went to Hockey Town, and driving through Woodward,
30th anniversary is still good.
I saw an old bar that hasn't been open for a long time. That's the Dirty Trick.
Dirty Trick.
The Dirty Trick.
Where's it?
So,
where at again?
This was in I guess technically it's District Detroit now, but it would be Grand Circus area at that time. So it is a beer that is really good. It was a time that the beer shouldn't have been on tap, and it was a time before the hype came through, and that was, so we would have been 2011 maybe.
Okay.
Bourbon County.
What?
On draft.
At Dirty Trick?
16 ounces.
What?
Regular no, it was a little pricey. It was like $9 for the pint. So I guess pricey-ish.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, I remember walking in there. I was actually with Dan. Nick, you may have been there, but you must not have noticed it.
Yeah, maybe not.
We were hammered because that was the 4th or 5th bar of that night. And we went to
You and Dan,
Centaur.
right?
No, for our group. We were with a group. We went to Centaur. We went to Town
Was
Pump.
it for my birthday?
I don't remember.
Because
what day
I've
it
done
was.
that tour before.
Oh, we've done that a few times.
Yeah, we did the Centaur, we did Town Pump, we did Dirty Trick. That was another one.
Yep.
I don't know if there was another one after that, but we might have tried to fit Jacoby's in there at one point. But
I remember one night we went to I ended up at the cigar bar down in Grand Circus.
yeah,
So
like towards the end. Of the
yeah,
night.
I found Bourbon County just on draft, just all chilling. And this is before, like, this is 2011. 7 years ago, the craft beer industry was a lot different.
It's nothing what it is today.
Absolutely.
It's nothing what it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like a little morphing monster.
Yeah, well, imagine 7 years ago at a place like Dirty Trick. Dirty Trick is across, was, plural, past tense, across from Comerica Park, down the street from the Fox Theater, the Fillmore, the now Little Caesars headquarters.
Yep, they've been closed for almost 4 years.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's taken that space since
not.
then. I haven't been downtown in a hot minute. But what appeared to us as a bar that people just go in, have a few drinks, go to the next bar is like a place to stop at during the course of your evening, had Bourbon County, which is.
I would love to try some of the vintage.
In 2011.
Yeah, I haven't had anything probably past like
15.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Northwoods again a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine brought it to an event that I was in Dallas.
Sure.
So we all brought beer. So I brought them no rules because there was absolutely no way none of them were going to be able to get no rules down in that area. So he wasn't even from Dallas. We were just all in Dallas.
Yeah.
And the beers that we all had, we should have had more people in the share just for sobriety reasons. Because me, I'm going to bring the heavy hitters and I'm going to bring multiple.
Yes. Right.
And this guy brought the heavy hitters and the multiple.
Yep.
And even after we were still feeding other people these beers, we were still just getting way too tanked.
That's typically what I do whenever I go to like my soon-to-be brother and sister-in-law's house. They're kind of like craft beer people as well. They do sours, typically. Sours and ciders. I brought a bottle of DKML.
Oh.
I know. I bought it, and this was maybe several months ago. I'm like, Harry, I wasn't too crazy about it, but I want to get your feedback on it. You tell me how it is. I get a text message from my soon-to-be brother-in-law, and he tells me he loves it. I'm like, you're crazy.
Stuff is amazing.
I was not. I was not crazy about it. I was not crazy about it, Rob.
And delivered beer in some of these hole-in-the-wall places. Like, where have you gone that just didn't? But the beer didn't seem to fit the place that you sold.
So it was the last season at Liberty Park in Sterling Heights.
Rest in peace, Liberty Park.
Their crazy deal was pints of Final Absolution for $6.
Holy
That's
shit!
everywhere.
Pitchers for 12.
Yep, that's pitchers in this place in Bay City I went to. Working, they're closed now. Go figure. $9 pitchers of Final Absolution.
So that was definitely a place that kind of was on the tail end of the craft beer because when you go there, you're there from like 5 to midnight. That's the only time that it's open, and it just, old people trying to play softball. So it's definitely your blue collar crowd, and then.
Were people drinking? Like, I mean, you could tell they were if they were turning kegs.
Yeah, no, I mean it was the number one bar in Macomb County while it was in season.
It was the number one bar in Macomb
Liberty
County.
Park?
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people went there.
How many people would be at the field each week? Or each
I mean,
night?
let's say they had 10 fields that they would use, 5 games a night, 2 teams per game. So that's 20 people. 10 fields, 200. They turn that 5 hours, so that's 1,000 people just playing. Doesn't include participating.
Damn.
Or fans or wives or
Yeah, fans, wives, girlfriends. I mean, their food was decent. I mean, it was bar food, but it was still
I wonder why they closed.
because the guy that ran it was leasing it from the property owner, and he never increased the rent.
Oh.
So,
well, that's going to be a bit. You guys are not going to like what's going to go there, but whatever.
what's going to go there
It's
next?
going to be a big, massive distribution facility, basically.
it was supposed to be that, but it's been pulled out of
Yeah.
like twice.
Yeah, well, if you drive by 14 and Mound now, they got signs up. They got construction vehicles on site now. It's going to be. It's not going to be it's not going to be a ball diamond.
I might just go
least.
take a softball bat and just start hitting that trucks then.
Go for it.
What about you, Rob? You kind of hang out south of 14 Mile. Like, where's a bar that's because Nick mentioned like 2 places in Macomb. Matt mentioned Wayne.
Throwing out Waldenburg, which
Macomb,
I've
yeah.
actually been there once. I actually hosted trivia there
Oh, did you?
myself.
For real?
Yeah. And I was subbing for a host, and I remember going out there in the dead of December.
Oh God, it's at the worst time.
Started hosting just as basically 4 to 6 was coming down.
Did you have a good turnout or?
I mean, it was a decent turnout.
It's not a big place.
No, not at all. And I mean, yeah, you kind of get that vibe when you're pulling into the parking lot and it's just gravel, and you're opening the screen door as you go in.
Yeah, no,
so it's like
there's no windows in that place.
Right. So I just remember walking in there just thinking, should I be here?
Oh no,
Dude,
I'm a little worried.
this reminds me of a story.
But yeah, since I don't frequent too much north of 14 Mile, because
Sure.
yeah, we know where my up north is.
Traverse City.
Oakland Mall.
That's the dirt. Oakland.
That's my north.
No, Traverse City's the dirty north.
Yeah.
The dirty north.
The dirty north.
So when I first got into the craft beer scene, I was introduced to one place that is out definitely in the downriver area, because being a downriver rat, that's
that place smells.
where you went for anything. But there was a place out in Wyandotte which is still going strong. It's Oak Cafe.
Oak Cafe.
Oak Cafe, and they, at the time when I first started going there, they just bragged up and down that you name a beer and we either have it or we can get it. And the first time I remember walking in there, this was really around the time that I was really starting to get into Bell's, and I knew of Black Notes Stout at the time. And I just basically said, you know what? You say you got everything, break out a Black Note. And this fucker goes straight to the fridge, and sure as shit, there it is. And it was like $5. I'm like, well, okay, well, shit. I see you, son. Let's do this.
Some of the most recent check-ins there: 440 Pepper Smoker from Original Gravity, Blueberry Drippa from Coonan, Elvis Juice from Brewdog, OPG from Batch, and that's a Blueberry Drippa again. Oktoberfest from Great Lakes.
Yeah, they get quite a bit in there, and
I'm going and I'm seeing different stuff every check-in. So that sounds. Oh, someone got Sumatra Brown.
Now, granted, the time that I used to go there, I was basically getting what were called snake bites, which is just the apple cider.
Oh my God, snake
I love
bites.
those.
Hell with that.
Oh my God, you would.
I know.
You would.
Those things are awesome.
That is the things I want to say that I'm going to say at 9:01 when
Thanks,
we're out
Sean.
there.
That's all you.
Angela,
Yes.
you are leaving us
Yes.
for better job, better opportunities, and a better life up in Traverse City.
Do you think so?
I think so. We know so.
I think we know so. Personally.
Are you guys gonna come? Are we gonna do like a podcast from my apartment?
I will have no problem scheduling a time where all of us visit you in Traverse City.
As long as it's not October 6th. Or you're going to be there.
I'm thinking more
Or
of
the
next
13th.
summer.
Or the 20th. Maybe the weekend before.
What?
Let's do a big group fam camp trip. I'll book it. You guys show up.
Yeah, but I'll stay at a hotel.
Yeah, I'll stay at. I want to be in a hotel as well.
Motel,
God.
hotel, Holiday Inn.
I got a ring in my ear all the time. From a concert.
So, Angela, we are going to miss you.
Yes.
Why don't you impart some final words to the fans of the show
Us.
that you've learned from your experience here at Better on Draft, that you've learned from your experiences working at both a beer store and a bar? What would you say to everyone? Would you tell them, hey, don't take craft beer too serious. Hey, make sure you enjoy. What would you say to them that
You're gonna make me cry.
you're not
sure you get this on camera.
dying?
I know.
Trash fuck boys drink beer.
Well, here. If I could, if you don't mind, let me start it off really quickly. Since you joined us about a year and a half ago, we were talking about a year and a half ago.
It's been terrible.
Shut up. Mute him. Ass. You're an asshole.
Oh, I muted Nick.
Oh, dude. You're an asshole. No, anyway.
That's what happens when
You
you
will get muted. I go.
Obviously, we didn't have the greatest luck with girls on this show.
Tara.
Yeah, I know.
Tara was.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't think he was trying to reference me.
But you came into the show wanting to break into the industry as someone who does marketing, because that was your major, marketing, and you came in, you had a goal every time, and you did it, and you now you're going to be working for one of the big dogs in Michigan, probably, arguably, in the region of the country, maybe even in the country itself. Working for one of the biggest brewers in Michigan, it proves that women can do it in this industry, and you're an example of that.
That is really sweet.
You're gonna make me cry. But the thing is that you came in every week before the show started and said this, and this, and you did it.
Yeah.
You are a living example that women can do it in the industry. There's not a lot of women in the industry. Almost every
Shout out to Fermenta.
Yes.
You better be joining Fermenta.
Damn right.
I hope so.
Our friend from Ellison.
Detroit Draft Divas.
Caleb.
Another good
There's
one.
not,
Formerly Ellison.
and then our friend over at Drafting Table. Kristen, yes. Not very women have made it. And you made it as a marketeer promoting the product that you're obviously very passionate about, probably more passionate than all the rest of us in this room. I don't know about Rob. Rob's pretty freaking passionate. But
I think there's a lot of passion in this room, whether it's for a specific craft beer, a specific company, a hobby, whatever.
Right.
I hear you guys go on tangents all the time, and most of the time I have no
never
idea
go
what
on
you're
a
talking
tangent.
about.
Ken does it.
Video games, sports, it's beyond me.
Video games. I like how you pick out video games.
Wrestling.
Wait, time out. We haven't brought up wrestling in like 6 months.
Yeah, don't bring it up in the survey, folks. I can't listen to my past shows. I imagine
Well, I
the
don't
first
either.
episode. What Kevin was it Kevin? Who was there on
Michael Alley from
Michael from
Perrin.
Perrin, man, that guy is a great guy. And I want to say maybe Kevin from Founders, and I
Yeah, both
apologize
came out
if
at
it
the same
wasn't,
time.
But,
Yep.
I was so nervous to say a word before there was even a dumb camera in the room. So I appreciate that you guys really brought me out of my shell, and you guys have just been good advocates in the industry, and I think that the show it's completely different than it was a year ago, and
Yes.
I'm proud of that. Like, I'm proud of the beer fest you guys will be hosting. I'm real sad I'm going to miss it, and I think that there's, only better things to come. So, yeah, I'm glad that I was, invited for, one show, and then I stayed for, I don't know,
year and a half.
100 more.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we got here.
yeah, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And all I have to say is, life is short. Go for your dreams.
Life is short.
Don't let your dreams
life
be
is short.
dreams.
There you go. Life is short.
All right, well,
is
that's
short.
going to do it for episode 145 Better on Draft.
145? Holy shit.
Yes,
And
145.
eggs.
And, Ange, do you want to sign us off?
What am I supposed to say? Something about
All right, I'll lead.
better on draft.
There you go. Have a good night, folks.
night.
Peace.
I don't actually remember what you